What's up, big baller shot callers? Welcome from the Grid to the Rim Sports Talk Show. Like I said, I'm Big Ken. Probably said that, but I'll say it again anyways, in case you missed that. And I'm joined by my co-host Monty Brown. How's it going, brother?
Hey, we're back. NBA Finals time, man. What's up?
Yeah, man. Been 3 weeks, man. It's been a hot minute since we on the show, man. We did the first round and we kind of couldn't get on for a while because of work and just
Yeah,
timing issues. So yeah, it's good to be back. That's where obviously that's the main topic of the show tonight, folks, is the NBA Finals. We do have some other topics we'll hit up. New York Knicks coach being fired. Why? That's kind of a big surprise, at least in my opinion, but we could talk
yeah.
more in detail about that. He got into the finals for the first time since 2000. It's been 25 years.
Wow,
But
that's crazy.
I'm kind of
I'm still,
surprised.
man.
What coaches are available out there to replace him? Talk about
Mhm.
that. Talk about which is part of the NBA talk before we get into who will win the championship and win Game One tonight. But the viewership. We're gonna talk about viewership because these are two small market teams. So what's people's thoughts on that? Is it good, bad?
Mhm.
Don't care either way. There's pros and cons to everything, but we'll talk about that. Um, uh, we'll talk about expansion team possibly in Seattle because I live in the Seattle area and obviously OKC before the OKC were the Seattle Supersonics and everyone in Seattle hates the fact that OKC is in the finals up here.
Mm. Oh,
So
yeah.
we can hit that up, and then um, switching gears, we'll talk about one topic in NFL before we close, and that's Aaron Rodgers going to Pittsburgh. Is that a good move? Should this dude just retire? Are his best days? Well, obviously he's not in his prime. We know that, but does he have enough juice left to become have a good product out there in the field?
Yeah.
I mean, we know he's not in his prime. That's a no-brainer. But is he good enough to still get them to a Super Bowl? Things like that.
Ken, you could just say it. He sucked, man. Just say
Huh?
it. Not in his prime is a
He
nice
sucked
way of
with the
saying it.
Jet.
Just
He
say it.
sucked
He
with the
sucked.
Jets bad. That's what I'm saying. Like, was it just the Jets? But in Aaron
No,
Rodgers'
he
defense, before
sucked.
we get into NBA talk, the Jets are just a franchise where it's like you go. That's like a place where you just go to die. No offense to
Yeah.
New York Jets fans, especially our boy Brandon. A big New York Jets fan who does the show with us sometimes. But yeah, New York Jets has not been a good franchise like in 20 years or something. It's been a hot minute. But
Yeah. Hey, Brandon, love to hear your take on this, Brandon.
I
Talk to
wish
us,
he was
bro.
on the show. And I should have invited him, but I've been so busy with work the past couple months. I learned through a fire hose. I just didn't even. He was gone, but he's back. He was gone for like months
Cool, cool,
with
cool.
the Navy,
Okay.
but he's back in town like about for past couple weeks. So,
All right.
anyways, we'll get him back on another show. But let's before we get too into the weeds, let's talk about the first NBA topic. New York Knicks coach being fired. Like I said in the opening just a few minutes ago, he is the first coach to get the New York Knicks back to the Eastern Conference Finals since 2000, 25 years. They've won three playoff series in a row, 3 years in a row. So they've been in the second
Mm.
round at least 3 years in a row. Then this year they got to the Eastern Conference Finals, and I think they're even in the playoffs maybe a year before that when they lost in the first round. But they've won at least three playoff series 3 years in a row. I mean, they won playoff series in three different years. I'm saying I don't know if I got that out right, but you know what I'm saying. They won the first
Yeah.
round a couple years in a row. Then this year they got past the first and second round, getting to the Eastern Conference Finals. So they got multiple series wins under this guy's belt. So what do you think about that, Monty?
Shocked, surprised. The man took them as far as they've gone this far, 25 seasons. I mean, just think about that for a minute. They beat the world champs,
Yeah, they knocked out
came
Boston in
back
the
from
second
behind.
round. Yep,
Were they down 20 points on the road twice?
yep,
Something like that.
yep.
Correct me if I'm wrong, to beat Boston at Boston. That's unheard of. I don't know if it's this you beat Boston, how can you lose to Indiana? I don't know, but you've seen Indiana play. They're no way scrubs. That's a
No, they're
very
good.
good team.
I still like Indiana should have beat Boston last year in Eastern Conference Finals. I said that multiple times.
Yeah,
But still,
yeah. So
they blew multiple games in that series.
uh, maybe they have somebody in mind that they all along that they wanted to bring in there, and they're using this lost Indiana as a reason to get rid of him. I have no clue, but for sure, I like Tibbs. I'm a Laker fan, but I do like the Knicks. I've always loved watching them. One of the things on my bucket list is to watch the Knicks play in New York. I've always
Yeah,
wanted to see that.
Madison Square Garden. Hell yeah.
Yeah, yeah, and but Tibbs is not going to have a problem finding coaching. As far as I know, he's the oldest coach in the NBA.
He's
But
67
still, I
years
mean,
old.
wherever he goes, yeah, but he's got to be successful wherever he goes. Check this out. What I am afraid of is what's going to happen is the same thing that happened to Mark Jackson. Got fired from Golden State. Someone steps in. Kerr steps in. Good coach, by the way. I'm not taking anything away from that.
I know what you
Starts
mean.
winning.
Yeah, they're winning a couple.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and boy, I that's what's going to happen here because this New York Knicks team, they're ready. I mean, maybe a player or two away,
I think they're a player two way, but they're close. There's no doubt. I think they're a
and
player two way.
but but the cupboard's not bared. Whoever's going to take this team, whoever's going to talk about this, or whoever's going to take over this team, they'll be in the playoffs. No lower than the fourth seed. They're still going to be great, but man, it's to answer your question, why? I have no clue. I'm just shocked.
Uh, I've read multiple reasons why. They're all rumors, but um, some of it is about losing to Indiana. Is this because not because they beat Boston? How could you lose to Indiana? It wasn't necessarily that scenario. It was just because they didn't play good defense. You know, they
Mm,
looked like the Pacers were just too fast for them. Like they
mm,
couldn't keep up on defense. The Pacers just were just like kind of like running and gunning, kind of run them off the court kind of deal. So there were some holes there. Obviously, Jalen Brunson is a really good guard. Made himself into an all-star, but he is an undersized guard. So he
yeah,
scores a lot of points on offense. He's a liability in defense. So is Cat Carl
yeah,
Anthony Towns. Great on offense, but doesn't play a lick of defense. And he has slow feet. He's not quick. Great player. He's been in the league a long time.
yeah.
I mean, but he's not great on defense. And I think they're missing a few other pieces. Mikal Bridges is good. Is good. Josh Hart's good. Josh Hart's an all-around player. He does a
Yeah,
little bit of everything. A
yeah.
scrapper like we talked about in another show. The OG Oganobi, whatever his name is, he's decent. Um, they're missing a couple players, though. I think they need better defense, and I think they don't. Honestly, I don't like how Boston doesn't. I think Boston shoots too many threes, but they're saying New York may not shoot. I don't think New York has a big threat on the 3-point line.
Yeah. Well,
Um,
that's why Boston lost the series because their threes weren't falling, and
and
we've been talking
that's
about
always
that
the
for two
fall.
seasons.
That's always the failure of a 3-point team. If they're not falling, man, you can lose. But New York Knicks kind of play a slower paced game, which isn't the end of the world. Like you don't got to shoot too many threes like Boston. But what I'm saying is like they don't play fast enough. Like they play like a little bit too slow compared to what the
Mm,
NBA's been moving to the past several years. Um, so that's just his coaching style. That's just the players he had. Because even with a different coach coming in, to your point, like Steve Kerr won after Mark Jackson got fired. Like I said, Steve Kerr's a great coach, so no knock on him. But Mark Jackson helped build that team, and
yes.
you know it's kind of like in the NFL when the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, uh,
Oh, Tony Dungy.
Tony
Yeah.
Dungy and the blonde haired dude that got
Yeah.
fired.
Gruden. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. Gruden.
Gruden. He didn't get fired at Tampa Bay, but he got fired at Oakland for saying crazy things, or whatever, a couple years back. So kind of happened with those two guys too. Um,
Yes. Exact same thing. Yeah.
but I don't think it's quite there yet. Um, for it to happen with the Knicks, like it happened in the NFL and with the Golden State Warriors. Guys, I think they're a couple players short. I think Golden State Warriors was more prime because Steph Curry and Klay Thompson, the Splash Brothers, were just starting to really get into it, and they had other really good players around them. I don't think the Knicks aren't as loaded as that. Is what I'm saying. They're not. The Golden State Warriors were loaded. They were just primed up. The Knicks are close, but I don't think they're quite there. At least that's just my opinion. I don't know what you think, viewers, but I don't think they're close. They're on the doorstep. They're not quite. They're not quite there.
Hmm.
So that's
Yeah.
why
Yeah. Like you said, they need a couple of players. They weren't as deep as Indiana.
they're not deep. Yep, that's
Um,
another thing. Their bench isn't very good.
I don't know if you want to put that all on
I don't
coaching
know
or
the
not. I
coach.
mean,
You go like
just
you can play the
yeah,
cards we have. Yeah,
yeah. just the matchups were they
Yeah.
were a tough matchup. They were a tough matchup. So we'll talk about this in a minute. I thought Indiana would be a better matchup against OKC in the final anyway.
Hmm.
So I don't know if they'll win it, but a better matchup will make it a better series. But we'll get into that later. But yeah, just we'll listen to the sports talk and see what happens with Tibbs. He'll get a job sooner or later.
There's one
The
thing.
next question is who's going to take over? Who are
Yeah.
they going to hire?
And before that, that is the next question, like we talked about in our pregame. But before that, no, let's just get into the coaching things. I lost my train. I lost my train of
Oh,
thought.
you're
But
good.
yeah,
Oh,
I had a question, but oh, I know what I was gonna say. You know, like how you said about how they came back to beat Boston by 20 points down a couple times in Boston. New York Knicks blew some big leads against Indiana.
yes.
Game one was one. I think there was another game
Hmm.
where they did
Yeah.
that. They got down 2-0 at home. That was the problem.
Yes.
You know, they lost
Yes.
both games at home to start the series. So we can't forget that before we get to who's going to
Yeah.
replace him as the coach. So,
That could have been what did it.
yeah,
That could have
they
been.
were in a big hole. You don't want to go down 2-0 from home and then go into the other team's home court playing away games. You know, it'll be a different story if you're down 2-0 and you haven't played on your home court yet, because then you can tie the series in the next two games. So
Yes.
big difference. Everyone kind of knew the series was pretty much over at that point unless something crazy happens. Um, but yeah, let's get into this coaching thing so we don't beat a dead horse. We know the game's coming on soon, like in 30 minutes. There are three coaches available I know about: Vogel, Malone, who was the old Denver coach that won an NBA championship a couple years ago with them, like you talked about pregame. He just got fired at the very end of the year, right before the playoffs. And I believe another guy's name is Budholzer. He's from the Milwaukee Bucks. I think he was
Yes.
the coach that took the Milwaukee Bucks to the championship in 2021. And of course, these guys have been other places since then, except for Malone just getting fired this year. But all three coaches are good coaches. I know Vogel and Malone. I don't know Buttholzer too much, but I know Vogel and Malone, pretty good coaches. So they're saying Malone is a lot like Thibodeau, though, with his coaching style. He's more of a disciplinarian, kind of old school. So,
Yes.
he's a great coach. He still might get hired, but they're saying that might be a deterrence because are you going to have the same kind of voice or go with a different voice? So,
Yes.
who do you like out of those three?
Huh. None of them. Um, None of them. This is wishful thinking, and I think this coach I'm about to name just fits New York. I would love to see him bring Rick Pitino back.
Oh, wow.
Man, I think, yeah, that would be, like I said, the cupboard's not bare of it. Outside of a couple of pieces missing, the team's pretty much ready, man. And man, just keep out to New York with Rick Pitino, the Knicks, like that. Was
Yeah,
it
he's at St.
was it
John's. You're right. But did he
yeah,
struggle in the NBA as a
man.
coach? Because some guys are just really good in college and they don't do good.
No, he wasn't there. He wasn't there long, but the run he had was a pretty good one. I don't. I'll have to do research on his record, but
Yeah.
no, he with New York he did okay. I
Okay.
remember that.
Okay. Yeah, that's interesting. I'm not crazy about all the
Yeah,
coaches either. Um, yeah. I mean, Vogel's with Indiana Pacers. He had some success there. I think it's with your Lakers, right, for a little bit.
yeah, yeah. And Vogel's a defensive coach, so that would fit New York since that's where they're lacking. So yeah, that might work for them. Yeah, Frank Vogel's not good. Yeah, he was fired from the Lakers I think prematurely. He shouldn't have been fired as quickly as they won a championship for him. He should have been there a couple more years at least. But you know how the Lakers are. I mean, that organization, the fans, they want to win yesterday. So,
Yeah.
and same thing in New York.
Yeah,
So
but New
it's
York's been struggling, man. They've been like besides the past 3 or 4 years since, Tibbs got there, Thibodeau. I mean, they were like a doormat team for over a decade. They were horrible,
yes,
absolutely
yes,
horrible. I mean, he brought him out of that, and maybe the coach before him kind of got him a little bit better too. I mean, Carmelo Anthony helped out a couple of years when he was there before Tibbs, but Carmelo Anthony got him to the playoffs a couple times, but they
yes,
weren't consistent with Carmelo Anthony. But Carmelo had a couple of good years there.
yes,
Um, but after Carmelo left, they were bad for a while, and they were bad before Carmelo got there too. So I mean, they really only had a couple good years before Tibbs got there. So
Mhm.
I'm still shocked, man. Fans, who do you think should be the coach? The three that we mentioned, or like Monty said, some outside hire like Rick Pitino? That'll be interesting, though. I don't know if Pitino's
Yeah,
going to leave St. John's, but he might. You never know. If the money's there, he will.
yeah, yeah. I mean, the NBA is lacking as it is, and to bring somebody like that back, it would, man, it
Yeah,
would do a
it'll bring
lot for
up
the NBA.
viewership. It'll bring up viewership, and
Yeah,
that's like, I guess, almost like one of the next topics we can hit up since we just hit up viewership.
yeah.
Kind of ties in with the possible Seattle expansion team, but we won't get into that yet. Viewership. What do we think the viewership is going to be like for two small market teams, OKC versus Indiana? I brought Seattle up for a reason. All the Seattle fans are pissed off here that the Seattle Supersonics left to become the OKC Thunder back in 2008, 2009 timeframe. Their last year here in Seattle was 2008. And I got here in 2009, like I said in pregame, so I'm pissed. I missed KD's rookie year by one freaking year. A lot of Seattle fans are pissed off, man. Um, so these are the markets. Do we think it's good that OKC in Indiana? Is that do we think we're gonna get good viewership for these finals? What do we think, Monty?
As much as I would love that, I don't think so, man. Check this out. The lowest rated NBA final since 2007, not including the two COVID seasons, 2010 and no, I'm sorry, 2020 and 2021.
Yeah.
The lowest rated since 2007 was last year, Boston and Denver. So, man, you got the Celtics in the final, and it's the lowest rated in a long time. I just can't see this one being any higher than that. It might be worse. Right? You got two small markets, OKC, Indiana, who's a larger market, not one of the lowest, but you don't have many fans from them. OKC is predicted to practically sweep the final. Maybe Indiana getting one game. This is the experts talking, not me. You might be the only person in the Seattle area watching the final.
Yeah.
Sweet. Because, I mean, people out there, they don't want to see OKC win the final. We know that. So, oh man, I hope I'm wrong about this, but outside of the diehard NBA fans, the people in Oklahoma City and the people in Indiana, I don't see too many people watching it. This could be worse than last year's,
Yeah, it could
unless
be.
unless Indiana goes up 2-0. That's going to spark people's interest, and people are going to start watching. Oh, we got finals here, and those ratings will go up after that. But no, I don't see it, man. I hate to be negative, but sheesh, just after looking at last year's being the lowest rated since 2007 with Boston and Dallas in it, there's no way this was going to be better than that.
Yeah. Um, well, like my son said, I talked to my son about this. He said naturally it's gonna be lower because these are two small market teams. So, like you said, the fan base isn't as big for both these teams just from the jump of this. So that's part of
Yeah,
it. But then there's just two people want to watch. But here's the thing: I feel sorry for OKC and Indiana because it's like I think there's fans out there that may not watch it. They may or may not watch it, but I think there is some people I'm saying that do like that. It's not the same old, same old. It's not always Boston. It's not always the Lakers. It's not always
Mhm.
Golden State Warriors. Um, it's two new blooded teams, so that might spark an interest a little bit because
It could.
some people do like new blood. So that is the flip side of the coin. But I think overall the ratings are going to be lower. But that's what sucks is I really like it that two I like it that two small teams made it because it gives other teams around the league like, hey, they did it, we can do it too. They don't have
Yeah.
a big market. So like I said at the opening, there's pros and cons to everything.
Mhm.
Yeah, the ratings may not be good, but it's kind of cool that two small market teams are in the finals, and they have some big names. They don't have like the top stars. I mean, OKC does have a couple of superstars. SJ obviously win MVP, and they have other really good guys. And so does Indiana having Halliburton and other good guys. I mean, Halliburton was on
Siakam.
the
Yes.
NBA Olympics team. You know, so they both have a couple of star players, but they're not like huge stars. Like Halliburton's just kind of getting started off. So is kind of SJ. It's not LeBron James. It's not Steph Curry. It's not the Boston Celtics guys. The two dudes out there. You know what I'm talking about. I know their names, but
Yeah.
Jason Tatum and
Tatum. Mhm.
his partner in crime. I know their names. I'm just data dumping. Tip of my tongue.
Yeah.
Jaylen Brown.
Yeah.
But those are big, especially Jason Tatum, big names. But he was also on the Olympics team. You know, but SGA did win the MVP, so there's some interest there. He got the MVP. Um,
But here's the thing. How many people know who SGA is? I mean,
that's what I'm saying. He's a superstar, but not whole people know who. It's not
he's
LeBron
not a
James. That's what I'm
household.
saying.
He's not a household name.
He's not.
Because of where he is. Halliburton's not a household name. I mean, he's great. I know they're arguing on ESPN whether he's a superstar or not. I think he is, but probably it's because of where they are. I think, and it might cost the viewership of this final. I don't know. I'm hoping I'm wrong, but man, I think the way we can save this final is for Indiana to give OKC a series.
I think they will. I mean, I know OKC's been blowing through people except for Denver. Denver in the second round took them to game seven.
Hmm.
And then they blew out Denver in game seven. But Denver got them to game seven, the tiebreaker game. Everyone dreams of game seven.
Yes.
Especially like in the finals or the World Series. But I think Indiana's capable, man.
Yeah.
Because I doubted OKC. They proved me wrong this year because last year they were their number one seed. They lost in the second round. I was wondering this year, and we talked about it in the first round in our first round show. Can OKC get over the hump? They're number one seed again 2 years in a row,
Yeah.
but they're really young though. They struggled
Yeah.
last year. Will they struggle this year? And obviously they didn't. They did struggle in round two, but they won game seven, and they blew through Minnesota in the Western Conference Finals. That's why people are
Yeah.
thinking like this might be a sweep or Indiana might only win one game, only be a 5-game series. But I think Indiana could do it because one, they play fast, but OKC has really
Yes.
good defense. But Indiana plays fast. Indiana has good big men. They have Turner. They got
Yes.
Siakam, who's
Siakam.
a really good veteran. They got Halliburton. They got Nemhard. They have a squad. They have other couple of good guys I haven't mentioned that come off the bench. They have the other backup guard who always gives them good minutes. That used to play at University of Arizona. McConnell.
Yes. I can't figure it.
McConnell.
Yes.
McConnell. He's a
Yeah.
good player. He reminds me. Well, the other guys is a little bit better, but Russo's probably a little bit better. But OKC has Russo. That guy's a stud on
Mhm.
defense. He used to play for your Lakers. I
Yes.
didn't know
Yeah.
Russo could
Yeah.
get up like that. I thought he was one of those guys that could barely dunk or couldn't dunk at all. And I saw some
Oh
of his
no.
dunks.
No.
He gets
He's an
up.
athlete, man.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I
He's
didn't know he
he's
was that athletic. I saw some of his
yeah.
dunks in the playoffs. Like, holy crap, he's
Yeah.
up. He's getting up. I didn't
Yeah.
know
I've
that.
seen him dunk on people, man. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I didn't know that. Yeah, I didn't know that. I didn't see enough of him to know that, but he surprised me. But yeah, McConnell and you know the dude I was just saying is dunking on people. They're both good guards coming off the bench. So
Mhm.
yeah, it'd be interesting, man. This might be a better series than what people think is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So, but let's get into the Seattle expansion team. We kind of already hit it up. One reason why I think ratings are gonna be low, but yeah, I know people in this area, fellow football officials of mine that won't watch the NBA because they said we are not watching the NBA until they get a team back in Seattle. That's how pissed off they are. They're so mad at the OKC Thunder's owner. I don't know if it's the same owner from 2008 when he
Hmm.
made the leave. It might be the same owner. I am not sure. I haven't done enough history, but I know the owner. The reason why they went to OKC is because the owner wanted them to. It was his decision. So I don't know all the ins and outs of it because I wasn't here yet. Unfortunately, I got here a year later. But a lot of people pissed off in this area, man. And it's hard to, I don't understand because I hate the 12s. I give the Seattle Sea Chickens a hard time, but they are loyal freaking fans, though.
Oh, yeah.
Um, I've been to a couple Seattle Seahawks games with the 12s. It's loud. I mean, the 12 thing is no joke. When another team has the ball, it's freaking loud. They're trying to cause offsides, false starts, whatever the case may be. I mean, false starts, it's
Mhm.
not offsides in offense, but false starts. Um, yeah, crowd noise is a real thing there. So I'm kind of surprised that I don't know what made the owner think that OKC is a better market than Seattle. So
Well, I remember watching the Supersonic, well, the games on television when they would play the Lakers at Seattle, and those fans really got into it.
yeah, they had the
I
glove, Gary
remember,
Payton, Nate
yeah,
McMillan. Uh,
yeah,
I mean, uh, Detlef Schrempf, Sean
yeah.
Kemp. They had a
Sean
team,
Kemp,
man.
man. A lot of history that they took away from that city, man, and it would be nice for them to bring it back and keep the name
Oh,
and everything, man.
yeah, they want him back bad. I would love it because I would go see games all the time. It'd be close.
Yeah, yeah,
I would be
definitely.
there. They would have me sold. I'll be there. I don't know
Yeah.
if I'll get season tickets, but I'll definitely go to several home games a year though. Um,
Hmm.
yeah, I would be there. I would be there for sure. I guess I don't know. Except people, I don't know the exact reason why. I just know it has to deal with the owner. I guess maybe some Seattle fans, if you're watching, you can enlighten us, or people just know the reason why if they know basketball history. Um, I just know it deals with the owner, and maybe somehow he thought it's a better market based in OKC because there ain't jack crap. I won't say the words, but there's nothing to do in Oklahoma besides go watch basketball. Maybe that's his
Right.
reasoning. Like I'm going to draw every fan from the state to go watch the OKC Thunder because there's nothing to do unless you're a
No.
cowboy and a rancher and you want to go out to your ranch. There's nothing here, so maybe that's
Yeah.
it. I don't know.
Even the guys on TNT said there's nothing to do out there. So, so yeah,
Yeah,
the fans understand.
They are the show in town. Like there's nothing.
Yeah.
So maybe that's why. Maybe he knew. But then again, you have a couple million people in Seattle. So
Yeah.
I don't know. How's that weigh?
Yeah.
I know Oklahoma. You're the only show in town, but yeah, but there's over a million people in Seattle, and then there's just people from all over the state in Washington that would drive to these games that are
Yeah.
so that are a couple hours away. So I don't get it. I don't get it. Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know if it's a better market out there or not. I mean, maybe it is, but I just don't see it, man.
No. I mean,
Because most teams play in a city or close to a city because they know a lot. It's going to bring a lot of people in. It's the kind of like the city nightlife. The city. It makes the city exciting. So they just don't go. They just don't go to small towns. I mean, they're not in a small town. They're in Oklahoma City, I believe, but Oklahoma City isn't Seattle. So
no. Oh no. No.
yeah. But anyways, we've been beating that up. I think we're about 10 or 15 minutes from game time.
Oh yes.
But I do hope they bring a team back out to Seattle. I think they will at some point, but I know, right, real quick before we get on to the game, there is talks in July of expansion teams, and I just watched local news before we started the show, and they're saying the NBA owners are supposed to get together in July with expansion team talks. So there's a possibility that they could get a
Good.
team here. So
Good.
we'll see, man.
On Seattle, I'm rooting for you, man.
So am I, because I'll be there. All right, the finals, game one. What's your predictions for game one? We know game one is in OKC. OKC was the number one team in the league. I believe OKC had the best record in the league this year. So they
Yeah.
got home team. They
Yeah.
have home. I won't say home field, but they have home court advantage. Um,
Mhm.
so the first two games are in OKC. I know Indiana needs to win at least one to have a chance, like you're saying earlier, not be down 2-0. So what do you
Mhm.
think, brother?
Boy, picking with my head here. Picking with my head. It's got to be so tough for the Pacers to win in OKC tonight. That crowd's going to be, oh man, livid, just on fire. I just saw them right now. They all wearing white. It's going
Yeah,
to be a whiteout tonight, so it's going to be insane in that arena. Uh, Best way for Indiana to do is just to take that crowd out early. Um, I don't know, no lead safe, but a big lead would help to start off with. But no, it's I'm picking OKC to win this game one.
Yeah, most people probably are. Um,
Yeah,
it's a safe, logical bet.
yeah,
But will OKC? What if OKC just comes out like? Well, they both been on breaks, but especially OKC.
yeah, yeah,
If OKC just comes out cold, that'll give Indiana a chance. If they just kind of lay an egg tonight, I don't think they will, but if they lay an egg because there's so much hype and they just lay this egg tonight and they get down because New York lost their two home games, which
yeah,
which is a big reason why the Indiana Pacers made it to the finals. So yeah, I that'll be the thing. That'll be funny if they just laid it. I won't say funny, but figure of speech that they just lay an egg and Indiana takes game one. Because remember a long time ago, Allen Iverson they didn't win another game the rest of the series. Remember Allen Iverson beat your Lakers game one.
yes, man, yeah.
They
I
shocked
was worried
everybody.
too. Ooh, I was worried. I
They
was like,
shocked
man,
everybody. Everyone was worried. But then the Lakers win the next four games. So
yeah,
it can
yeah,
happen, though, is what I'm saying.
yes, it can.
Because, yeah, Allen Iverson sure as hell did it. No one was expecting that. And we know all about the Lakers crowd, Showtime, and I mean,
Yeah,
a lot bigger than OKC crowd. So, yeah, so it can happen. But I
yeah.
think I think OKC will win too. But I would like it if Indiana wins. I would like it. I would love it
Yeah,
actually.
so would I. So would I. Like I said, I think they're a better matchup because they're tall, athletic, just like OKC.
They
I
have
think they would.
similarities, like I said, and they like to play fast.
Yeah,
They have
yeah.
good
I
big
like this
men,
matchup better than New York.
Siakam, Halliburton, Nemhard, other guys I'm not mentioning. The guy off the bench, like I said, McConnell. They have players, man.
Yeah,
They have
they
more than
do.
one guy. Um, so because there's been some nights where Halliburton's been cold and someone picked up the slack. That's why they're debating whether he's a superstar or not. I think he is too, but no matter how good you are, occasionally you are going to have an off night. But I think what they're
Yeah.
saying sometimes it happens a little bit too much. He's really good, but he can take a nap sometimes.
Yeah,
Um,
he
like I
does.
said, once in a blue moon, it happens to everyone. No matter how good you are, it's going to happen. It even happened to the great Michael Jordan and LeBron
Yes.
James. It can happen occasionally, but it happens a little bit too much with him. So
Mhm.
that's why I think they're debating about
Yeah.
that. So yeah, Halliburton's dad. Is Halliburton's dad allowed back or not?
I
He
believe so. I know he was able to go up into the suite and watch the games there, but
Yeah,
I
his
think
thing
he
was
is.
crazy with Giannis, which is old news
Yeah,
at round one. But
yeah, yeah,
that was from our last show. You're saying there was something going on. There was a confrontation. We didn't know what it was. It
yeah.
was that.
That's what it was.
So
Uh-huh.
if you watch our round one show, folks, we're talking about this, and we don't. We're like something's going on after the Pacers. Bucks. We're like Bucks.
Yeah.
I mean
It
Pacers
was
just
happening
won.
real time.
Pacers just won the series, and something's going on though. There's something going on after the game, and it was like, yeah, Halliburton's dad getting in Giannis's face. He went way too far. He was
Yeah.
completely wrong for that. But
Oh yeah.
yeah, he should have not done that. That had to be embarrassing for Halliburton, the
Yes.
player. Like, I can't believe my dad's doing this crap, man.
Yeah.
Um, so I'm assuming you think OKC. Well, I'll let you answer, but I know a lot of people think OKC is going to win the series, kind of like we were talking about before. Do you think that's the case?
Yeah, yeah. I think they'll take the series in six. I think Indiana could win. Can get two games out of it. Give them tough games uh, at OKC, and maybe just in the end, but OKC might be a little bit too much for them. But yeah, I'm gonna have to go with my head on this one, man. As much as I'd like to see Indiana win this series and man, make it, man, just make big upset, and it'll drive those ratings up. That's for sure because it'll capture people's attention and people will start watching.
I don't think the Pacers have ever been in the finals. I know OKC has with Russell Westbrook and KD, and they lost a couple
Yeah,
times.
yeah,
But I don't
they
know
played
if
the
Indiana's ever been.
yeah they played the Lakers on the when they had Kobe and Shaq. The first when Kobe and Shaq had the three-peat, uh, that was the first team they played against Indiana.
I forgot they made it there. 'Cause I know Reggie
Yeah,
Miller couldn't get him over the hump. The great Reggie Miller. They
yeah,
they they could they couldn't
yeah,
get past Jordan. So
Yeah,
I just didn't know if they ever
yeah,
got
yeah.
to the finals or
Miller
not.
was on that team, and Jalen Rose was on that team
Oh,
that
okay.
the Lakers played
Okay, I
for.
remember now. I had
Yeah,
to go back down memory lane. Okay. Okay. Got you. Now, when you
yeah,
said Jalen Rose, yeah, I remember that
yeah.
now. Okay. All right. Well, I think OKC is gonna win it too. I would love to see Indiana win it. I got family in Indiana, in Michigan area. I got family in northern Indiana. Um, my cousin Tiffany and her husband live around in Indianapolis area somewhere, but I got other family in northern Indiana, really close to the Michigan border, a couple hours away from Indianapolis.
Nice.
And it, but so I would like to see it just because I have some roots there, and I grew up in Indiana a little bit before my dad joined the army. I bounced around between Michigan and Indiana when I was a little kid, so went back to last summer vacations in Michigan, Indiana area visiting my cousins. So I would like to see Indiana do something, but I still think it's gonna happen. But man, I would love to be wrong. I would love to come back on
Yeah,
here and say that Indiana Pacers are the world champs, but or the NBA champions. They shouldn't say world champions. I hate when they do that because they didn't play world teams. That's the Olympics, but
yeah,
they like to say that crap. I know it pisses a lot of people off with America's arrogance when they say world champions.
yeah,
Like you didn't play anyone
yeah.
else in the world, But obviously we did win the Olympics though for basketball, men and women. Obviously that's our sport. So,
Yeah.
but anyways, they shouldn't say that though. I'm rambling on, but what do you got in closing, brother? Got anything good in
Well,
closing?
a little teaser for our next show. News hot off the press.
Oh,
Aaron
thank
Rodgers to
you.
Pittsburgh.
I knew I forgot something. Thank you for
Yeah,
mentioning that.
yeah. I mean, hey, get a teaser for our next show. We can go NBA today, and I think he's supposed to go out to their workout sometime next week or this week. I'm not sure, but they signed him today. We'll see. I
Well,
don't
I
know.
talked
I
about in
mean,
the opening about Aaron Rodgers. I can't believe I forgot before the closing. Like I said in the opening, folks, what do you think? Is Aaron Rodgers washed up, or is he gonna have a good season with Pittsburgh? Pittsburgh has a great coach in Tomlin, Mike Tomlin. We know that.
yeah,
But their offense has been struggling a lot the past 4 or 5 years. They have a decent
yes,
defense, but their offense just can't do anything, man. I mean, Najee Harris is a decent back, but they lost. Pittsburgh lost one of the receivers. Went to our Cowboys. Pickett,
yes,
right? Pickens, right?
yep.
Pickens.
Pickens, yes.
So I don't know, man. So
I'm
yeah. So for
skeptical on that one too. Yeah.
yeah. So for my closing is let us know about Aaron Rodgers. What you think? How do you think this NBA finals going to be? What do you think can bring up NBA ratings? I know the NBA has been struggling, not just because of these finals. The NBA has been struggling for a long time. We
Yes.
talked about this last year.
Oh yeah.
Sometimes like NBA All Star Game ratings suck because no one plays defense. Um,
Yeah.
Ratings in the whole NBA season are just been down for the past decade. I know, like in the '90s and early 2000s, I think ratings were really up because people liked a lot of players back then, and there's a lot of really physical basketball play, and people like that. It wasn't like you had to have grown man fouls in that game, like no blood, no foul kind of stuff, man. Um,
Yes.
uh, what can the NBA do to bring the ratings back up? I know one thing is they need to call traveling more, but they've been working on that. That's one thing people don't like is they never call traveling. Dudes are taking 4 or 5 steps like easy calls, and they're not calling it. But
Yes.
they've worked on that the past couple of years. I saw it more called this year than I have at any point. So I
Same
know
here.
that's
Yeah.
a point of emphasis for them is to call more travelings. So, but yeah, let us know what you think, man. But hopefully it's a good NBA Finals, man. So hopefully it's competitive and it's not a sweep or just a 5 game series. But that's all I got. So until next time, thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing.
Enjoy.
Enjoy. Have a good night, folks. We'll see you next time.